Welcome back to the movie cave. And today we're going to be talking in Cody's movie cave about something that I hold dear to my heart, Batman. I know. Anyway, so today's discussion though is something pretty interesting. It's Justice League. You remember the crappy Justice League versus Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, alright, let's let her rip, Tater Chip. So, Justice League, the original one that came to theaters, the craptastic garbage vomit that was Justice League, the cartoonish, colorful, Marvel wannabe knockoff, came to theaters, but before that, it was in production, and Zack Snyder, who was incredible, you know, did Batman vs. Superman, 300, all those. He had directed a good bit of it, but had to drop out over family issues. Tragedy had struck, which is understandable, you know. No hard feelings. But here's what Warner Brothers did instead of giving him time to handle his business at home. They went out and got themselves another director. And that director was Josh Whedon, who had no business touching DC properties. He had done, you know, Marvel's Avengers and this, that, and other. And, you know, that's fine. But that's Marvel. Leave it over there. So he came on board, and from what I heard of on-set accounts, he was a total douchebag, dirtbag, terrible person to work with, and he gave us this steaming pile of crap. As you can see, it was nothing even close to Zack Snyder's vision. He gave us something that was complete crap. Batman cracking jokes, a storyline that was terrible, which was nothing of what Zack's vision was. Entirely, totally different. Different in tone. They made it lighter. They made it more colorful. And he just tried to bring what he learned at Marvel into DC, and that's just not what DC is. DC is dark. It's gritty. It's Batman, and I mean, I don't like my Batman's cracking jokes. I'm sorry, but that's just not. That's not cool. So yeah, this version came out. It's the one we got in theaters, which was an injustice within itself. And then, after many of fans' cries and pleads and, you know, boycotts and all this, Warner Brothers finally said, you know what, screw it. We got HBO Max now. We can put it out on that. Let Zack finish his vision, and we'll call it good on the whole Zack Snyder universe. So they let him come in, do what he originally wanted to do, and he gave us this masterpiece. Hold on just a second, and I'll tone the light down. He gave us this. Zack Snyder's Justice League. The real version. You can even tell the difference in the box art. It's darker, it's more better. Superman's wearing his black Superman suit, which is what he was supposed to do anyway. Batman's more true to his character's, you know, identity of what he's supposed to be. Ben Affleck does a great job. These two movies are not even the same story-wise. If you've watched them both, you'll know, hey, this one's better. This is the one that was supposed to be. Totally different storyline. We get Darkseid in this one where we didn't in the other one. It's broken down into parts. I think there's like 4 or 5 parts or something like that. But that works. It makes it good. I'd rather have a longer movie and get what we're supposed to get out of it than have a hour and 50, 2-hour piece of crap. So, yeah. You know, it's heralded as, you know, one of the greatest super movies ever made. Now, I don't know if it goes to go too far if they say that, but, you know, even the critics enjoyed this version better. It was just superior. And if you've watched the two movies together, you know, side by side, I mean, I remember watching it when it came out on HBO Max, and this movie right here is nothing like the crap ball we got in 2017 in theaters. They're just not even the same. I mean, there's scenes that were cut. There were scenes that were added. There were scenes that were added in the theatrical version that could have been trashed. Should have been trashed. So yeah, like I said, we get Superman in his dark suit, which is way better. Batman is aggressive and gritty as he was supposed to meant to be. The whole scene of him meeting Aquaman they've cut so much out of the original that it's unreal. So yeah, the nightmare scenes, as you can tell, you know, I'm dressed in Nightmare Batman regalia, but the nightmare scenes in this one is awesome. And had we got a part two of the Justice League for Zack Snyder was going to be set primarily in the Nightmare Vision scenes. It was going to take place in that world. I was sold. That would have been great. That would have been incredible, because you know they let the scripts leak for Zack's planned sequels. He was going to have 2 more sequels for his Justice League. Like I said, the second one, fully in nightmare mode, would have been great, because we'd have had Superman in his villainous role, siding up with Darkseid. Batman sort of leading this ragtag group in this apocalyptic setting. Deathstroke would have been on the team. That would have been incredible. Even the Joker, Jared Leto's Joker, showed up in that scene, and that for me was a standout right there. The third one, man, the third Justice League would have been spectacular, because it would have sort of ended the whole Justice League trilogy, and you know, we'd have found out that Batman had hooked up with Lois Lane, and she'd have been pregnant with Bruce's baby. Batman would have sort of did an ultimate sacrifice in the end, much like Tony Stark did in Endgame. And so Superman and Lois would have wound up having to raise Batman's baby. That'd been pretty cool. Totally different. So yeah, it's a shame that we won't get to finish, you know, Warner Brothers, whatever it was that Zack Snyder did to tick them off. Is a shame, because he had such vision with the DC property, and you can tell that he loves these characters. Whereas with Joss Whedon's Justice League, he was just trying to bring the formula that he learned from Marvel and thought it would be successful with his Justice League, which it was not. I was so ticked off when I seen that. Garbage. But with that said, you know, like I said, Zack Snyder's Justice League is 4 hours long, but it's worth it. You know, I was sitting there watching it thinking, nowhere near did I think, oh, this is a long movie, I can't stand a long movie, because he did fantastic. His vision for the way DC was heading would have been perfect. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. You know, whatever. DC is a shake-up right now with everything that's going on in Warner Brothers. You know, they have a new CEO over them, and he's canceled numerous projects, so he's kind of revamping. And many people were hoping that Zack would come back on board with Warner Brothers and DC, but I'll be honest, I wouldn't hold my breath for that. With that said, Zack Snyder's Justice League is a clear superior to the shorter, cartoonish version that we wound up and got in theaters. So that's where I side. Like I said, Zack Snyder's Justice League is dark, it's gritty, it's graphic, and that's what DC's supposed to be. DC was never meant to be this colorful, you know, happy, everything ends like it's supposed to in the end and with a happy ending. That's not DC, okay? With that said, however, you know, Marvel, in their own right, do their own things, and it works for them. That's fine. But anyway, so Zack Snyder's Justice League streams on HBO Max Check it out if you got time. Like I said, it's a lengthy watch, but it is superior. I'm telling you, the two movies are nowhere near the same, not even within story mode. Now, Zack Snyder's Justice League is, like I said, more graphic, more bloody. There is a little bit more language in it, so it's borderline right there, not really for kids. It's rated R, which, I mean, let's face it, that's why DC kind of falls under, you know, borderline anyway. But yeah, it's rated R for violence and some language. You know, it's a tame R. It's not hard, but yeah. I mean, I wish he would have gotten to do this in theaters and we would have been able to see it there, because that's where it was meant to be. But I'm telling you, I could not get over how different these two movies were. You know, usually when you get here's the difference with them though. A director's cut is nowhere near the same as this subject, because a director's cut is the same guy directing. It's just some of the stuff he had to cut for time, content, whatever. But this was totally unprecedented, because it's two different directors' visions. You know, you had one come in and sort of say, no, we're not doing that. We're going to do it like I want to do it. We're going to do it different. And then you had Zack's version, which was, you know, 2 to 10 times better. So they're not even the same movie. In my opinion, watch this one. Don't watch the other one. Do not watch 2017's original Justice League version. You'll be robbing yourself severely of a better experience and a better movie. Check it out. Like I said, it's streaming on HBO Max. So if you got it, it's free. It's free. Or do like I did and go out and buy yourself a hard copy for your own collection. That's what I did. Like I said, this movie could have set up so many other better sequels and things that could have opened the DC universe. It could have been massive. We're not going to get it now, which is probably comic book wise and nerd wise the biggest crime of the century. So, like I said, you know, you got the nightmare scenes in it, which is some of my favorite scenes from Batman vs. Superman and from the Justice League. There wasn't even the first one in the original Justice League, the theatrical version. What? I mean, what the crap? You know, you're not going to give us that? So, yeah. Check it out. Zack Snyder's Justice League. When you go to type it in, make sure you get that one and not the other one. Or Batman's going to be severely peed off with you. So, yeah. Check it out. And from Cody's Movie Cave, it gives its seal of approval for Zack Snyder's Justice League, not the other crap. And as always, this is my humble opinion, and opinions are like butts. Everybody's got one. Some of them stink.
Au contraire, my little fish stick. He knows exactly what it's like to lose someone he loves. You know, like a father, like a mother.
Be very careful with the next thing you say.
Like an adopted son. Isn't that right, Batman? Maybe, in a way, that smelly old flounder is right. Because how many can die in your arms before you grow numb to death?
That's not very careful.
Now, how many dead eyes can you look into before you die inside yourself?
I've been dead inside a long time. But even I have a limit. And if you cross that line, I swear to God,
Before what, Bruce? Kill me? You don't want to kill me. I'm your best friend. Besides, Who's gonna give you a reach around? Anyway, you need me. You need me to help you undo this world you created by letting her die. Poor Lois.
How she suffered so. I often wonder, how many alternate timelines do you destroy the world? Because, frankly, you don't have the cojones to die yourself. So as usual, I'll be the bigger man. A truce, Bruce. As long as you have this card, the truce. But all you have to do is tear it in half, and I'm happy to discuss with you in any way like why you sent a boy wonder.
To do a man's job.
You know, it's funny. You would talk about people who died in my arms. Because when I held Harley Quinn, and she was bleeding and dying, she begged me with her last breath. And when I killed you, and make no mistake, I will fucking kill you, that I do it slow. I'm gonna honor that promise.
You're good. You almost had me.
He's found us.